guys, welcome back to the channel. I just bought me a new car and it is so fucking fast. I actually bought this thing a couple weeks ago. I just haven't had time to share it with you guys since I've been really busy with my new job. This is not the easiest car to drive as a daily in stop and go traffic, but having the excitement of doing highway pulls with over 500 wheel horsepower on a daily basis is definitely worth it. Just the spool up noises and the blow up valve. Here, just do like a little low speed pull. See, it already wants to break loose, just going 35 on second gear. Just give it 2 seconds in a pull and the rear end breaks loose. And this is without the traction control off yet. So I bought this thing already fully built. I knew the previous owner because he was one of my customers from back when I used to work at P-Tuning. It's a performance shop. And so I'm very familiar with the build. It's got K1 forged rods, Y-scope pistons, it's got ACL bearings, ARP head studs, it's got a Garrett GTX3582R, which is like a 700 horsepower turbo. Of course, it's not cranked to 700. Current limitation is fueling. With 93 octane, it's pushing 512 wheel horsepower at 14 pounds of boost. And that's paired with some FIC fuel injectors, Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator, return style fuel system. I think we used maybe AAM. It's got a Turbo Smart 45 mil external wastegate dumping straight to the floor beside the transmission. It's got a Turbo Smart atmospheric blow-up valve, Turbo Smart manual boost controller. Use a lot of Turbo Smart. It's got a huge front mount intercooler. It's like 30 by 12 by 3.5. As far as engine management, it's got a higher flowing mass airflow sensor by UpRev. It's also got the UpRev Osiris software. It's also got AEM wideband gauge, AEM boost gauge. What I love about this thing is it's not too hacked up. Like, it doesn't have too many aftermarket goodies, not too flashy. The interior looks almost stock except for the AEM gauges, which I can hide by just flipping down the cover. It does have a chassis mount shifter, which I love. Super short throw. Just, you can feel how I love how mechanical it feels. It's got a Quaife aftermarket limited slip differential, so the rear end locks super easily. Easy to get in trouble with. This thing doesn't sound like a typical 350Z though. It doesn't have that Yeti tone to it. A lot of that has to do with how the turbo's mounted. They created a Y pipe that joins both exhaust manifolds and merges it into the passenger side where the turbo is mounted. So it's kind of like a mixture between a Yeti and a Subaru, how it sounds. Not a huge fan of how it sounds, but when the wastegate opens here, let me give you a little taste of how the wastegate sounds. One of my gripes with this thing though is how it drives, like how it rides. It's not the most comfortable. It's on some TEIN Street Flex Coilovers. They are almost 7 years old at this point, so they might need a rebuild. Notice I'm bouncing around a little bit, and I've already checked the preload settings, the damper settings, softened them up, tightened them up, checked the alignment, and everything's to spec, but it's just not tuned for street driving. I am probably going to change to a different set of coilovers, most likely going to go with Fortune Auto 500 with some Swift springs. One of my favorite things on this car are the wheels. They are SSR Japan MS3Pro 3-piece wheels. They're 19 by 10.5 in the rear, 19 by 9.5 on the front. They fit really, really snug on the Akebono brake kit. This one's got the Z1 Motorsports. They're like a bigger brake kit. I think it comes standard in Infiniti G37S. Not standard on this, and it's definitely so much bigger than the factory brakes. By far the fastest car that I've ever owned, and I've had quite a fair share of cars. This is my 34th car. I've had Turbo FRS, I've had Forester XT, that is fucking addicting. As much as I want to switch the injectors out and get this thing retuned for E85, maybe push 18 pounds of boost, make over 600 wheel horsepower easily with the rest of the setup, since it's got a built motor and aftermarket clutch, CDO9 trans, aftermarket diff, heavy duty axles, and a GTX35R turbo. This thing's got plenty of room for a retune. Right now, it is so reliable. I've been dailying this thing for over 3 weeks. Hour each way to work. So, hasn't given up on me yet. I drove this thing to Virginia Beach from DC and back. I put over 2,000 miles on it in 3 weeks. And not a hiccup. So this thing's so reliable, I don't feel like messing with it. If it ain't broke, why fix it? But 600 would be nice, so that might be a plan for the future. If you are interested in keeping up with this project, Turbo Z, the Crosstrek, the BMW, consider subscribing to my channel if you like this kind of content. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. But for today, this is going to be it.